go.
Okay.
Okay, so Redesign is an older hack.
And he does not turn on moonwalk. Usually, how to say, moonwalk can save some time in suitless underwater sections because you can start moving faster as you land on ground and you start to run faster early on. But Snick and some other TAS used moonwalk for this, but Hoandizi started out with redesign TAS sometime earlier on and didn't want to go back and turn moonwalk on for this. It would maybe save a few seconds, but yeah.
Okay, so is Moonwalk just faster? Because I've never actually heard of this. Is Moonwalk just faster for the start of the animation, or is it the fastest like walking form?
Basically, for underwater movement, so if you, I mean, you cannot run without gravity, and so there's only there's momentum and the dash speed component. So those two values added up, they give the speed that you see Samus moving through areas sideways, and you cannot gain any dash speed underwater suitless, but momentum, and this momentum starts from 0 usually and builds up to some fixed value, and this value is determined for every pose. For example, for moving in the spin jump pose mid-air, in water or in air, for running on ground, for morphing and rolling on ground, or mid-air morphball movement. There's different but specified maximum momentum values, and usually if you land on ground in water and you start to run, the acceleration in water is very, very slow, very weak, and Moonwalk allows to start with a higher value. So you already move faster in the very first frame, and then it doesn't take as long anymore to reach the maximum.
Okay.
So that's about, to give some idea, it saves about 30 frames, half a second, every time you land on ground and have to start running again, suitless in water, compared to not starting with moonwalk.
Okay. So this is why I invite him to talk about things, because he knows stuff about the game that no one should know.
So Sirius is roughly the same as in the original, except that he doesn't have wall jump boots, which is an item here, and yeah. So basically, the last room he has to climb the platforms instead of the wall, and the gravity is changed.
And the timer is cut in half, but that shouldn't be an issue for most people. So I guess this is one way you can kind of tell this was an early hack, because it still has the intro text and series part of it, since this is pretty much cut out of all hacks.
Yeah.
Recent hacks.
The recent hacks don't have series. Most of them don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
The older hacks.
Yeah. People who've hacked the game have seen this so many times they don't want to see it anymore.
Yes, that's true.
So, I'm sure most people are familiar with this, but Redesign is a massive hack. It is, I don't believe it's the largest anymore, but at the time it was by far the most explorable area you could, in any hack. I'm pretty sure it was the size of any 2 or 3 hacks of the time.
Yeah, most of the hacks back then were half hacks, or not as polished, and didn't have so many features and differences as this hack.
Yeah, Redesign itself, I know I have my own opinions on it, but it's not a bad hack. I just don't care for the gravity, and that's just something. However, in the TAS, you'll see that's you get as many tries as you need to get things right, so it helps make a more smooth flowing.
Yeah, everything goes right. So you don't see. I mean, the penalty for doing something wrong because of the high gravity and other things is normally stronger, is harder than in the original. But here you won't see this because it's the TAS.
Yeah. So Morph Ball is a interesting. Now there were some physics changes with this. I believe if you don't do a mock ball, your speed is roughly half of what it is in the original. It's a really
Rolling
slow roll.
on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of.
You also cannot wall jump check grab Morph Ball because it doesn't have a wall jump item yet. Usually you can grab the items from like 8 pixels distance with wall jump check, but he doesn't have that now.
Oh.
And yeah, on ground this maximum momentum value for Morph Ball is lowered compared to the original, so you can still do mock balls because when you run on ground you gain some dash speed, build up the dash speed component, and you keep this for the momentum component for when Samus rolls on the ground, for which is basically mock ball or speed ball.
Okay. So this is all your basic path right now. You'd have to do this no matter what. Do you have in your notes anywhere where the point deviates from, I guess, the average?
From the speedruns, yes. I guess the main difference is high jump, which is I guess some kind of double item, because high jump also gives you a spring ball. So early on, it's a lot of backtracking and platforming, and I guess it gets more exciting as soon as the TAS gets Speed Booster, which it gets much earlier than speedrunners would get it.
Yes. And doesn't it still technically get speed boost later than it could? But wasn't there something found, or is this still sort of like the... I guess...
Well, I don't know if it's worth it, but so there's some power bomb blockades in the way towards Speed Booster, and the TAS gets Crocomire's power bombs before going to Speed Booster. At least I think it does. So, but there's some other power bombs one could collect or grab on the way. I think that was done to skip to skip Crocomire and the power bomb with Crocomire, which changes or keeps the room state of one room towards Speed Booster, such that the lava is higher and even humans or players can IBJ up the lava suitless and then get to Speed Booster. So that's the thing.
Yeah, I was recently informed about the power bomb thing, so...
Yeah.
Because I had attempted to try and find a way to get an IBJ up when the lava was lower, and that just wasn't working.
Yes, I tried to do this as well.
It's infinite bomb jumping in this hack is...
Yeah.
Yeah, infinite bomb jump in this hack is different. It's doable, but it's different. I find it much easier under lava, so the fact that you can get your power bombs that don't set that room state up makes that pretty great.
Yeah.
It's just, you have to actually get those power bombs elsewhere.
Just when there's this switch from water surface or lava surface to air, you have to keep the IBJ going, you have to unmorph and morph all the time for every so that the lower bombs can catch you every time.
Yeah.
Because you need to reset the fall speed, and this is the timing for this unmorphing and remorphing is very precise. I don't know how frame perfect, but it does it for high jump, and that's the first place where I tried with safe sets and slowdown to do it humanly, to approximate it and see can it be done or not, and there was no chance.
Yeah, this... it's one of those things. It's not really. You're not gonna do it on on this. So finding other ways. I mean, obviously with the TAS, it's not a problem. So you get to see how you can break the game with some of this stuff. But
Right. It also doesn't get Ice Beam as early, and Grapple, basically the right side of Norfair is visited later. The main focus is on getting Speed Booster early.
yeah, I am very disappointed there's no deaths in the Grapple Gauntlet. Spoilers.
So yeah, on the way to Bomb Terrorizer and bombs. Basically, you can't do much different than you would do in a normal speedrun.
Yeah, you still got to build up the, I guess, basic requirements for just getting around first.
Yeah. Before sequence breaks can start.
So how much, because I know in the Axial Edition, you now actively punished for arm pumping. How much time does arm pumping save if you had a rough guess on that?
Well, I guess, so arm pumping shifts you forwards 1 pixel every time the arm cannon's angle changes, so from horizontal to diagonally up or down, or diagonally up to down, or down up, doesn't matter. Even if you're running and you start your first shot, and that will change the arm cannon. You will see the arm cannon, and before you shoot, the arm cannon wasn't stretched out, and that also does an arm pump. And it's always 1 pixel, and the movement speed is around, maybe, depends on the area, but maybe 4 pixels per frame, so maybe, or every 5, maybe 6 arm pumps give you 1 frame over the course of this whole task. I don't know. Maybe 1 minute, I don't know. I guess it helps a lot more in suitless and water sections because your general movement is slower.
Your movement's really slow in this hack.
Yeah, and arm pumps is a fixed 1 pixel per frame.
So bosses in this have, I guess, hidden weaknesses. Some of them do. Bomb Terrorizos is kind of obviously bombs, because that's really your only, I guess, bonus item.
Yeah.
So
there's not as much to choose from.
Yeah.
For weapon weaknesses.
So how many of the other bosses have a hidden weakness? Because it's not just Bomb Terrorizo. I know Dragon is also weak to bombs, I believe.
Yes, and Ridley, I guess, for Pseudo Screw Attack, does a lot of damage to him. Sportsman is nothing. GT, well, not really something that you could call a certain weakness. I guess Wave, SBA works out.
And Phantoon you can just lock out.
Botwin can be killed quickly with Screw Attack.
Oh yeah.
That's like 3 frames to kill him. 3 contact frames with Screw Attack to kill Botwin.
Yeah, and like I said, Phantoon literally doesn't matter because you can just lock him into a spot. I've never successfully done that, but I have seen it done, so that is humanly possible. You just gotta get your timing good.
That's because the fire rate is changed for a lot of beams and also missiles and supers. Supers are very slow, but missiles you can fire, I guess, 1 frame faster. So, and usually you have 2 frames in vanilla to fire the next missile after each other, and here you have, I guess, 3 frames window. So it's a bit easier.
Okay, so he's got bombs now, so
Now on the way to super missiles. I mean, you need to kill a spore spawn anyways, because there's the gray door shell and you cannot get past this door unless spore spawn is dead. But since this is a 100% task, you also have to get the school missile pack above spore spawn.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess I didn't mention this earlier, but the items in this hack, the values have been changed for missiles and supers and power bombs, I believe. Actually, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Power bombs. But
yes, it's all the same.
So yeah, he had 7. This should give him 9, I believe. Yeah. So
yeah,
missiles out in the open are worth 2, I believe. In the item orbs are 5, and then hidden in the scenery are 10.
10. Right.
It's kind of a tiered system.
Yeah, for supers I think it's 2 and 3, and power bombs 1 and 2. I might be wrong, but it's the basic idea is there. That the more hidden some item is,
the more valuable.
Harder to find, the more it gives.
Yeah. It's a neat idea.
Yeah, sure.
I don't necessarily agree with it, but it is a neat idea. He is really trying to kill himself right now.
Yeah. But it has to go extreme on all the ammo and HP requirements and movement.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It's close. Usually want to cut off time that Samus is moving mid-air, because the momentum values on ground are larger that you can gain. So every time mid-air is the longer you are in mid-air, the more you waste. Usually want to get on ground as fast as possible. Of course, it depends on the structure of rooms and so on. But it's like a rule of thumb.
Yeah, we've got our super. The door caps. I believe he's going up toward the one spore spawn opens up. And
yes.
Did this one also have an energy tank lock on it as well? Or is this one just spore spawn?
I think this is just spore spawn. I mean, there's 2 energy tanks that have the same item index or identity to other energy tanks that can be collected before Norfair. And either you get them here on the way to Norfair or right at the elevator to Norfair.
So this would be the... and by the way, that missile was hidden in scenery. That was not a real item orb.
So this is where the route changes.
Yeah.
For high jump.
Also, purple doors need 25 missiles. And supers are worth 5 missiles. Those are... everybody talks about those because they're terrible, but...
a lot of farming is required for those.
Yeah. So this is... where high jump
quite
is.
Impossible.
This is something I wish we could get in the speedrun reliably.
Yeah. I tried for, I don't know, 2 hours, a long time, and I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
I guess the best I could do was getting one unmorph and remorph done so that the lower bomb outside of the water can catch me, but I can't keep this rhythm up. It's just too precise.
So yeah, that right there, you're supposed to get grapple before then, and that's before grapple you gotta do a lot of other stuff. So that is actually a really huge sequence break to get high jump right there. It's, if you're not familiar with this hack, that is actually probably on a casual playthrough maybe 3 or 4 hours in to get grapple.
Yeah, right.
So
and Springboard also helps because the mid-air momentum value for moving sideways mid-air with Springboard is increased. As you can see, it's quite fast, and Hoandizi will use Springboard sideways movement all the time to go through a lot of rooms. Basically, he wants to build up some running speed, and then jumps and morphs and springboard jumps through all the platforms, gaps, area, tunnels. Yeah.
Also like the boost off the Ripper there to get up here. Which gives Fury a suit. This one's surprisingly not nearly as big a sequence break.
Yes. It is possible to get Varia before doing the Hell Run for Ice Beam humanly, but you have to start an IBJ in the Spike Pit if you are not TAS.
Yeah.
And that can take a lot of time. It's hard to learn the timing.
Yeah.
At high jump, with high jump it's a lot easier. TAS can get high jump. Yeah, and Springboard helps to keep speed underwater.
Yes. It makes some of these rooms just look way easier than what they are.
Yeah. Also using the respin ability to do CWJs and generate just wall jumping, more sideways speed. I mean, I guess CWJs generally get you a lot further from the wall than it does in the original game.
And this was the energy tank, I believe, that you have to get in order to advance, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's
the Hell Run usually would kill you. I don't know if one could get further with possibilities. Do you mean there's
that one
gray
opens
shell?
Yeah, I think that one opens a gray shell somewhere.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Wasn't sure about it. Yeah, and this hidden missile pack here. So when Hoandizi told me he wants to redesign 100% TAS, he gave me some map with a route that he made and wanted that I look over this map and check if there's some improvements. I put the map in Discord and so that personalities and Elminster could see them, see the route, and basically the route was done quite well. But this missile pack, Hoandizi initially wanted to get this missile pack after Speed Booster, but it fits better to get it early on, as he did when he's coming from the right and then keeping all the speed towards the underwater section for this missile. And so that when he gets Speed Boost, he comes from the left side and wants to continue to ride for Red Brinstar Guardian, which is further right, and he can do some Shine Spark chains that way. Otherwise, he would have to stop and go down and then keep going. That would slow him down. So that was basically the only real change in the route that was suggested.
So also with Springball, you get some neat looking rooms where you get a perfect bounce into tunnels.
Yes,
You can never
there's
pull those off.
quite a lot of those. Now he's taking a trip through the lava. And there's Rob.
Rob the robot. There are also bubbles in this hack, so it's acceptable. So this is toward Crocomire. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. What he was supposed to do was go to Ice Beam. However, like Jeager said,
So
that's
can get
happening
area?
later. Yeah, so Ice Beam, Varia. Then you come back, you get your power bombs, and then you go do a huge loop to go around to get grapple, and then you do a loop back to get speed booster or high jump.
Yes.
It's
He also gets the best Crocomile RNG. There's no crawling animation with all the dirt thrown.
Yeah.
And Crocomile behaves. Goes back all the time.
It does my favorite, infinite bomb jumps that loses height.
I'm not quite sure if that was basically the best one could do, like unmorph and remorph as late as possible, so you gain as much height as possible. And if that might still be going downwards, but I'm not quite sure. Because with 2 bombs, some kind of ladder IBJ, you can go up, but with 1 bomb and starting it midair, I don't know. And yeah, the momentum value for spring ball movement midair is just so large. Most of the time, if he goes through a couple of rooms, he just wants to build up running speed like now, and then start spring ball jumping. Which also makes it easier to dodge enemies and get into mothball tunnels and all that.
Yeah. So that was, I believe, the first power bomb pack you're supposed to get, so...
Right.
It's always fun.
This snipe strat. Shooting the ore cap and the Nova at the same time. On the way up. And here he's clearing out those power bomb blockades because they stay cleared or stay away as soon as they were destroyed. Otherwise he would have to destroy them all the time.
So, there's that. This is to Speed Booster, which again is way out of place right now.
Yeah, it happened rather quickly, but the RBJ out of the lava is insanely difficult. And not humanly doable. And now we have Speed Boost.
Yeah, Speed Boost Escape is one of the potentially... Also, I should learn that spring ball strat. Yeah, Speed Boost Escape is one of the, I guess, more dangerous places in the actual human speedrun.
Yes.
Though if you're good, it shouldn't be an issue. But if you noticed, when he charged the Shine Spark, he basically did a Chain Spark right away. That's because the horizontal movement, I believe, is the same. But doing the Shine Spark gets your speed up to there faster. Up to the max speed,
yes.
I think.
So, it's similar to Super Metroid Super Zero Mission TAS or Shine Spark movement with the chain sparks. And now here's a power bomb that clears a blockade under in the lava.
Yeah.
So when he comes back later, he can go down there because there's a Chosen Guardian. And so I think with sideways Shine Sparks and then switching from sparking to running, you keep the I guess 15 pixels per frame momentum from, I guess it's speed from the Shine Spark, but add the momentum value from running afterwards, and that allows you to go even faster. It should be the fastest method of traveling except of super jumps, but those go only vertically.
And he does not show off the unintended damage spike that was left in that room, so I am disappointed.
No wave spark, but he can go under the gate anyways, closing gate. This strategy is, well, it's quite fast, and he gets this power bomb basically from the wrong side,
Yeah.
You're meant to shine spark, do some shine spark escape in Lone Warfare, and you'll get into this room from below. Then you have this entrance. Can get the power bomb, but he uses temporary blue suit and jumps down there. Break the speed block.
So yeah, Ice Beam's over there, but we're not gonna bother with it. That's
Not yet. Yeah.
Hoandizi's basically turned into Epi for now. So we have Speed Booster now. This is where things will start picking up a lot.
Yeah. Now he's getting the reserve tank. Then on the way to the right, as I mentioned earlier, there was this 10 missiles pack that he collected underwater. Now on the way to the right, he doesn't have to stop for this missile pack. He can just continue running or chaining shine sparks, which we will see right now. And because this is so fast, it was definitely worth it.
Yeah.
I guess one could go through these tunnels a bit faster with gravity, but gravity is so far away, and backtracking usually costs a lot more time than doing something early on, but a bit slower. Because this hack is anyways extremely large.
Yeah. So, this is not normally the first Guardian you unlock, but the Guardians can be done in any order and grabbed really as soon as you can reach them, but
Yeah.
this is not a usual first Guardian.
Yes. Because of a lot of those bomb jumps out of water, all of those are extremely complicated to do, and don't think. I guess for speedrunners you need gravity to get up there for this Guardian or some free shine spark.
I also like that little trick to get in there right away.
And already second Brinstar Guardian. There's 3 for every area.
And a missile. I think if you were a player who found this little tunnel, just collected the missile and didn't realize it was a Guardian in that mess.
Yes.
I
think that there's another place in Warfare where it does the same again.
Yeah.
There's a power bomb and then the hidden Guardian. Yeah.
Yeah, it's those Guardians. I mean, missing that would be painful. They're not as bad as a certain one in Maridia, but
right.
You'd have to feel pretty silly to miss those, I think.
Now some shine spark chain. And this is especially, it's kind of nice to abuse this because those are slopes on the refill stations of energy, and this is placement just fits perfectly. He's also sometimes using springboard jumps out of bomb jumps from the ground, because you keep the Samus can either be in a grounded state, in a falling state where you can do a down back, or a jumping state. And if you do a bomb jump from the ground, you keep the grounded state, and in this state you can, as long as you are rising and not falling yet, you can still do a springboard jump.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's using that to get out of mothball tunnels and stuff like that. Might be the only power bomb gate in the game, I'm not sure.
I think it is. Unless there's some like random thing in criteria. So
now I think he's going towards X-ray and a couple other items.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe like most of the red Brinstar is basically cleaned up now.
Yeah.
The last Guardian in here is a little more complicated than the others. It's not just there. You kind of open up some gates for it. Kind of an interesting little puzzle. It's one of the things I like about this. You got a little secret passage back here.
First purple door, followed by a green button or green gate.
Yeah, and
then on the other side it's similar.
Yep. Also just a missile hanging out down in the floor, as all Metroids are known.
Could have gotten this earlier on the way to the left, I guess, but oh no, he's coming from above. So yeah. All those purple doors.
Just love seeing the purple doors.
It's even worse when you Doppler those. So basically, if two missiles hit the door shell at the same time, same frame, then you will only get one hit for it, and you lose ammo.
Which means even more farming.
Right. And yeah, Hoandizi is already trying through all the rooms. There's enemies on the way to farm on the fly, basically. But he still, when he arrives at criteria, he still has to uses the refill at the ship. So even all those enemies he's farming on the way and slowing down just a little bit, it's not quite enough to get all what he needs. Because the ship refill still takes quite a long time and refills a lot of ammo and HP.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good sign of how ammo intensive this hack is.
Yes.
I mean, even for a 100%, he's got to get... And he actually does have a decent amount of ammo.
Yes, at the moment. But there's a few door shells coming up. Okay, so yeah, there's charge beam and afterwards X-ray. Usually 100% TAS, you have a lot of missiles remaining and power bombs, especially because you don't need so many.
Yeah.
But redesign, you have to use all of that. Or you can make use of it, so since the TAS has to go fast, it needs to use it.
He's actually collected a lot of small missiles so far.
Yeah. Chaining shine sparks everywhere. There's a few places where I think the timer, the shine spark charge timer, almost runs out, even though it is a longer timer than in the original. In the original it's 180 frames, which is 3 seconds, and here I guess it's 4 to 5 seconds, I guess. Maybe 4, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Some supers on the way. Just for the next purple door.
And we've got our X-ray scope.
Best or worst or most overpowered item in the game.
He's a big fan of X-ray scope. I am not.
I like that he uses X-ray to a full extent. So, yeah, we'll see those things later.
Yeah.
It would be a bit complicated to explain, but yeah.
That's also a nice shortcut to that missile.
Right. Guess he opens up this tunnel up there for the beatums, so they are free the animals. Because I don't think it helps him to go faster. And even though he's using all those shine spark chains, the mid-air momentum for moving with spring ball is still useful at places. I guess when he reaches the end of some room to make some item and go back, spring ball jumps can help there.
So yeah, there's a purple door. This is all hidden behind a wall. This just looks like an item room, but this is where the we opened up the one gate. There's another gate back here, so there's 3 gates on this one in total. This is one of the more, I guess, sneaky, more difficult gates to figure out. There's a lot of hidden stuff involved in this.
Power bomb for the kill count, because the gray door shell otherwise won't open.
Yeah.
And that's the last Chozo Guardian for Brinstar, right?
Yes. Yes, the nice thing about that room is the refill bugs count toward the enemy death, so you don't have to kill those giant side offers, thankfully.
Now he has a lot less ammo as he had before.
Yeah, because there was, what, 2 purple doors back here? I think
so.
Yeah. This is a big farm point in the speedrun. Because you're not collecting 100%, so your ammo is already more limited, and
right.
Purple doors just destroy your ammo counts.
Okay, so to explain what just happened,
yes,
so he shines back to the left. Basically, how to say, if you get knockback, usually you have some knockback timer where you're in this knockback pose, and at some point it ends, and then you start falling again. And there's some change in Samus pose or in the state, and this change, there's some memory address or some variable, and entering this falling state would change this variable. But starting a shine spark at the same frame would also change this variable, or using extra at the same frame changes it. So it can happen that in the same frame, 2 actions, one passive one, which would be starting to fall, and the other one would be active, that you do via your own inputs by trying to use X-ray or starting a shine spark. Those 2 actions try to try to use the same memory address in the same frame, and ends up entering the state in which Samus X-rays in this case, but with a wrong value at this for this memory address, which allows you to move or change your pose while X-raying. And because you can change your pose, you can start a shine spark while X-raying. And because Samus has blue suit during a shine spark, during every shine spark, but the blue suit is cancelled in the first frame of the shine spark crash animation. So as long as you can avoid the shine spark crash animation, you keep blue suit or have it. And when X-raying is exited, so basically you just stop holding dash. During the shine spark, you enter a falling state instead of the shine spark crash animation. So you keep the blue suit that way. So in order to start X-raying right after getting some knockback, you have to land fast enough, and the knockback timer needs to run out at the same time as it's Okay, we'll have to explain this. This is quite similar. This is basically the same thing. You are using X-ray, but you can change your pose and can spark or move. But in this case, he's X-raying and he sparks vertically. And during all shine sparks, the dash speed value increases every frame by 7. So 7, 14, 21, and so on. Roughly, it's not quite the same, but so it increases every frame by a lot. But this for the vertical speed value. But the speed value is never used for shine sparks. It increases, but it doesn't. But the game doesn't use it for whatever reason. But when you shine spark while X-raying, and you exit the X-raying state, or I call it X mode. At this point in time, when you exit this X-raying state, the game will use the speed value for upwards movement, and usually you move around 6. Your movement is usually limited to at most 16 pixels vertically or at least sideways, and since this value is 7, then in the next frame 14, then 21, you are already faster than this limit if you shine spark for 3 frames. So you can gain some extreme speeds that way. The size of one block is 16 pixels by 16 pixels. If you gain 21 speed, that means you move 21 pixels in one frame. If you shine spark for a lot more frames, you can move the distance of many blocks in one frame. So you can shine spark through I don't know, all kinds of solid blocks and platforms and whatever. You just need to make sure that you don't go out of bounds, because canceling the super jump, you still can collide with some ceilings if they are large enough, or if the movement just turns out to get your position adapted to where the ceiling is. But otherwise, you just ignore the ceiling and shine spark through. A super jump through. He will use those super jumps, I guess, 2 or 3 times later in the whole run. A few more times, not quite sure. At the screens, when he uses them, usually the screen draws some layers of tiles in the wrong way, misplaces visually where blocks are positioned. And here's the ship refill that he needed.
I also like the echoes just sitting out there.
Yeah. That basically says that the ship was entered the first frame he could.
And just immediately speeding away. So Criteria's Guardians are spread out a little more than Brinstar's, because there was 2 in Brinstar that are really close together. Criteria's aren't close. I guess the one here and the one that are on the ship are kind of close, but they're not really.
But the rooms are quite large, at least.
Yeah.
And
the third one's way out on the other end.
Yeah. So first it was almost a complete Brinstar cleanup in regards items, I think. Pretty sure when he goes to Norfair later on, he comes back to Brinstar for 1 energy tank or something. and then goes back to Norfair. So there's not much left in Brinstar anymore, but so after this almost finished Brinstar cleanup, there's now criteria, getting most items from this area. Then I guess it's North Maridia, I guess.
Yes, I believe it does Maridia first. Or at least part of it.
Yeah.
Also, something else that you may not notice going on, when he's doing the wall jumps up a single wall, that is also not an easy thing.
Yeah.
For the casual player to do, because your launch, your momentum's value is really high when you jump off a wall, so staying right up against that wall is...
It usually pushes you far away from the wall within a few frames. So you need to be quick.
Yeah,
it's changing the direction.
You can wall jump up a single wall even with being pushed away, but you don't keep that close to it. So the time being saved there is not insignificant words.
Yeah, it's not worth it for speedrunners because you would rather mess up and fall down all the way.
So that room is fun.
And here's another shine spark while X-raying.
I don't fully understand the mechanics behind it, even despite your explanation, but I do love watching it in progress. It's a pretty great effect to watch.
It's basically shine spark in X-ray, and he stops X-raying, and when he does that, instead of a shine spark crash animation happening, he just starts falling. He loses all the sideways speed and starts falling, and has blue suit, or keeps it. And here he's using some kind of gravity jump. Gravity jumps don't exist here anymore. Those were patched out, or not patched out, but mechanics were changed, so it doesn't work anymore. But you can still gain dash speed with shine sparks. Normally you can only have momentum, suitless and water, but with shine sparks you also can add dash speed. So those both values add up, and that allows you to jump higher. It's like if you run from outside of water into water and then jump with speed booster, you can jump higher within water. Another quick chain of with shine sparks.
There are some items that are always more difficult to get because they involve some pretty tricky chain sparks normally.
Yeah.
There's one in Maridia in particular.
Yeah, for a few of those, he's using blue suit. Exactly for the reason, because otherwise he would have to chain some shine sparks through a couple of rooms just to get to the item. So it's worth to get blue suit earlier and then travel through a few rooms a bit slower and then just walk with blue suit through the speed blocks to get to the items.
So yeah, this is the I guess central guy, just hanging out in the ceiling.
Sky Guardian, I think that's what it is called.
Yeah, we want to grab this super. Not forget that one. That's actually kind of a like that room is so suspicious. You kind of just forget there's an item there sometimes.
Yeah, right. Just like elevator rooms, or the elevator room towards Norfair with the reserve tank.
Yeah, I mean you know there's something wrong with this room, but it's just like whatever. It's so obvious. It's well hidden.
especially when there's 2 huge rooms surrounding it, and he could have just left out this small room. So why is it there? There has to be something, some reason to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would put most hackers thinking that like that.
I mean, it could also just be some connection room, or if there's change in the tiling, tile map. But yeah.
So there's a little missile hanging out on the wall. There's a lot of criteria actually that's explored in this that you don't normally, I think even in a casual playthrough you might not see. Criteria is actually really large, but a lot of it is unnecessary.
Yeah, you don't see most of those rooms. This power, this morph ball maze kind of is a bit interesting because this hack introduces or uses those morph lock tiles, which are basically air tiles that you can move through, but as soon as you touch them, you cannot unmorph anymore until you touch an air tile that allows you to unmorph again. And here he fell through the crumble block, and so that he touches an air tile that allows him to unmorph again, and jumps back through the crumble block before it respawned, so he can unmorph in the morph ball maze, which allows him to go through it a bit faster.
Yeah, that morph ball maze is a pain otherwise. Also, I love that room.
Yeah.
That is a pretty great room to see. Just done like that.
Yeah. A rule for suitless Maridia is basically, even if it takes a bit longer to get some shine spark going, it's worth taking the shine spark if you can chain it through a few rooms in Maridia, because otherwise it just takes so long to move around.
Yeah. And this is the Guardian that's way out on the other end. This is the last Guardian in Criteria.
Yeah.
This one's decently well hidden. It's got a pretty good hit with the Kago, though.
He used Spacer so he can, because Spacer has a high fire rate,
Yeah.
as opposed to Wave Beam, which does, I guess, a bit more damage but is slow.
Yeah.
But at least he can go through walls and helps for farming enemies on the way. And now he's going to this room without water, past Phantom. Doesn't go to Phantom, but uses the room so he can start a Shine Spark. And it's worth it. I guess this is the same maneuver or Shine Spark chain that Saturn already used to get to Gravity.
Yeah, he's going through these rooms much faster. Any horizontal room in here is being done so much faster than in a normal casual playthrough.
Right.
And he needs to keep it there because he doesn't have grapple for that spot, so.
And this way momentum works, so he starts off the jump of so he shine sparks horizontally, then starts running off the slope, then a jump, and he has very high momentum value sideways. And if you turn around, it's like if you do a speedball from outside of water into water, and then you at some point you hold backwards. You will still drift towards the direction you did the speedball in water if you're suitless, because it takes so long for the deceleration to slow you down, so you can actually move the opposite direction. And if you tap left and right alternatively, so first right, left, and back, and so on, you can do some zigzag movement, because basically it mirrors the movement. It tells you your speed backwards has this and this value, and it will not decrease as fast. It will stay the same for almost the same for a long time. So by changing which direction left or right is backwards, which you can do by turning around, you can make Samus move fast to the left or the right.
Yeah. Also, Rip Lost Caverns. They went bye-bye along with, I believe it's when you collect Gravity Suit, there's a trigger that happens there. That removes them from, or removes you from being able to traverse them. I think that's a trigger for it.
Yeah.
So, no Phantoon, sorry.
Yeah, that boss can be skipped. Guess he also skips Kraid. Not sure what. Guess Spore Spawn. No, Spore Spawn can't be skipped, but a few bosses can be skipped.
Yeah, it's just 2 of them happen to be major bosses, so
Yeah.
that's pretty unusual.
Yes.
It's not intended, clearly, but the fact that you can do it is...
I guess one main reason, how to say, this hack doesn't use the Golden 4 statues room, which has this trigger where you need all the 4 bosses, the main bosses. And since this hack doesn't use it, that makes it more likely that a boss maybe could be skipped. The other hacks, this would already make it impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jozo statues are the triggers, so that's all he needs to do in order to get to the final area. I could not think of the word.
Right.
And I kind of wish more hacks did something like that. It's different. I like the exploration aspect. That's one of the strong points of Redesign. There's a big exploration aspect in trying to find everything, just as a casual player.
Just don't exaggerate it, because you will end up like a mission rescue with 48 triggers that you have to find.
Yeah, no. Still waiting on Hoandizi's task with that.
I would have to make a route first. But yeah. Changing beams again. I think Hoandizi's goal is usually in-game time, I think. At least he doesn't care that much, or isn't as focused on lag and real time, but more on entertainment and to have some nice strategies. I mean, he knows that there's some flaws that could be improved with better strategies or ideas through rooms to go through those faster, or like the ammo management when he had to refill the ship. So to at least keep it entertaining, he doesn't focus as much on lag, but more on the movement, so that it looks smooth and fluid.
Yeah. Yeah, and Hoandizi has a lot of really nice TASes. He also is one of the few who TASes some more unknown hacks, I guess.
Yes.
So
he has he's basically the main Super Metroid hack tester. He has like 20 to 30 tests of hacks. Others have maybe 5 or less.
yeah, so he is definitely worth. I'll have to link his channel in there as well, but
There's a lot of
definitely
experience.
Yeah. Worth following whenever you see a task of a hack come up. It's normally from him, and it's usually a pretty great task.
Right. The next hack he wants to test is Super Metroid Golden Dawn. I don't know, I don't have a progress report on that from him, but maybe, I guess he's still working on it.
Hopefully it's better than the one DSO did. I'll have to do a comparison video between DSOs and his.
Okay.
Also, I really like just this part of
Is the elevator?
the elevator back up that you can't go down. That, for whatever
Yeah.
reason, really, when I was a young baby hacker, that was a really big deal. That blew my mind. So that,
Yeah.
I love seeing that room.
Cliffhanger also does it, but on the way down you can't go back up until you have supers where you can
Right.
shoot out the floor.
And speaking of cliffhanger, Hoandizi does have a task of that as well.
Yeah.
So Maridia is casually. It's not the most painful area in terms of enemies, but it is by far the worst to find the guardians. One in particular is a disaster of.
Can easily be missed. Yeah.
You do a bunch of stuff and it's a thing.
The only hint is really that you know that you had to do a lot of work to get there, and that there has to be something, or unless it's just a gigantic troll.
Yeah. Yeah, you unlock 4 gates that are hidden. And you come across the room. I mean, you can find a power bomb. But
And then you already find the exit basically, and that's like, what now?
it's like you did all this for the hidden power bomb. So this is part of it. Go through these little tube things.
And yes, he also avoided the Morphlock air tile, so he could just use Wave Beam to hit the blue gate button down there. Here he cannot do it, so he has to
Actually, bomb.
bomb it, yeah. But at the other button he could avoid it and shoot down. The same, similarly, it can be done for the other, at least one other button from below when he gets there later.
So yeah, that was 2 of the gates. There's 2 more.
And there's another. So, yes, for it's hard to explain. If there's enemies give you 5 knockback frames and spikes 10. So for spikes, it's easier to, and so you have to land on ground and start a shine spark or use X-ray, and you have to do this within 5 frames or 10 frames. So with 10 frames, it's easier. That's what spikes would allow you. Yeah, so you have 10 frames if you use spikes. But with enemies, you need some slopes or something where you can land that allows you to land faster. Just a flat ground will not make it usually, unless someone's feet are stuck in the ground a bit. So he uses the waver and the sloped ground to land as soon as possible after the knockback with a damage boost that it's like a 1 or 2 frame damage boost. And then has to start X-raying immediately. So you can enter this X mode where you can basically free X-ray scanning state mode where you can shine spark or move around, and the shine spark will be cancelled with a falling state instead of a crash animation, so it keeps boosted. Back in the day, even Kashardan already knew about this. He called it I think Hero of the Day, or someone put some movie on TAS videos, but they didn't explore or look into this glitch a lot, or into the possibilities of this glitch. So that was all left for people later on
Also,
to find out about it.
Yeah, this was the energy tank. That's normally a disaster to get your chain spark up into. Normally you don't keep it up these slopes with the pumpkins on them. Or maybe you do. It's just, I don't think it's that. I think it's up in the actual tall shaft with the energy tank in it. And it's not fun. So by using that, he didn't have to do a lot of chain sparking.
Yes, and Drusev also put those cack attacks there because to just be a bit more annoying than necessary, because they randomly can shoot, they don't shoot, you won't know. You want to have them out of the way, and you don't have so much time to do it, because the shine spark timer will run out. And if you do one mistake, basically you have to run back and start it over. I mean, for shine sparks, the TAS can still do stutter steps at the beginning to shorten the distance needed. So the shorter the distance is, the more places you have where you can start it. So that's quite important to find the places where can you start the shine spark to get some fast horizontal movement going through a couple of rooms. And in the original game, you can release. If there's 4 magic frames where you tap dash and increment the boost counter each time, and at the 4th time you have the echoes and can charge your shine spark. But here you can't do this, because I think Hoandizi told me that the dash speed that needs to be obtained is 4.5, so 4.5 pixels from the dash component without momentum, and you need to get to this value, and when you are there, you have the echoes and can charge your spark. Before that point, you cannot. And if you release dash at 1 frame or at any time, it will reset to 0. So you still need a lot of ground, a long platform or something to charge the shine spark. I don't know how many tiles platform needs to be long or wide, so we can charge the shine spark in this hack, but it's a lot more than those, I guess, 12 or 11 tiles in the original game for TAS. So that was another backtracking through from Maridia to Red Brinstar for 1 item. Now there should be more in Maridia. He will clip through the floor here, because the developer of Super Metroid made it so that basically it was a mechanic that prevents you from falling off the ground when you're moving downwards on slopes diagonally, because basically if you have some horizontal speed, they made it so that your vertical downward speed is the same plus 1. That keeps you on ground. Otherwise, you would fall off all the time and would interrupt your movement all the time. But here, your sideways speed can be so large that the downward speed is even a bit larger, so you can clip through the ground, because there's a checkbox below Samus' feet, and the relative distance, like how much the checkbox is below Samus, it is low. The faster you move sideways, the lower it is, and if it is completely below the platform you are walking on, it checks just air pixels and sees, oh yeah, you can go through and you can move downwards, and you will clip through. So if you run fast enough, maybe on, for example, in the original game, if you run on slope tiles that are just a half tile high, like 8 pixels, then if you run fast enough, you will clip through, because the checkbox will be placed further and further below the faster you move sideways.
So this Dragon is no more.
Yeah. Weak to bombs.
That is a pretty great fight.
Yeah, and he also, he could have killed Dragon a bit earlier, but it doesn't mean it's fast, because as soon as Dragon is dead, he has to travel to the center at the bottom of the screen, and then the death animation happens and all that. So since Dragon by Dragon on his own moves faster during his swoop. He just needs to kill him when he's low and centered with the bombs.
So Dragon doesn't actually have... Actually, he does unlock a Guardian somewhere, doesn't he? A door somewhere.
Well, you have to kill Ridley, and then there's in some Maridia room air tiles that trigger the glass tube to break. If you need Dragon for that. I'm not sure, there might be some other great door shell somewhere. I'm not sure about it. Could look it up.
I forget what Dragon opens. I don't think it's a Guardian, but I still believe you need to defeat him for something.
It might be this grey door that the TAS is just going through. I mean, for 100% it not be required.
Well, there's a Guardian up there, I think. So, sort of in a roundabout way.
Oh yeah, and he also used I mean, he switched a few times between space and wave beam and a few other beams. I guess later when he has plasma. But wave beam is also useful because the bomb blocks, you cannot destroy them with power bombs anymore, or shot blocks they are. You can't destroy shot blocks with power bombs, but you can still hit them with wave beam, which he will use here as well. He will shoot some of those instead of bombing them.
So yeah, this is Guardian number 2. This guy's not so bad.
Not as hidden as the other one.
Yeah. There's 2 left, but one of them is sort of like this guy. He's out there.
At least there's some pattern to where the Guardians are placed on the planet. So with 3 of them in every area, so you know at least where you have to search.
Yeah, and
in what area.
Yeah, they're kind of, sort of like a east, central, and west as well. Sort of.
Yeah.
I think Warfare kind of is a little bit different.
There's another kind of roundabout item to get. For some items you have to just go out of your way.
And that's one of the downsides to this hack, because normally when you go out of your way and you find a missile in a hack, it's like, oh, okay. But in Redesign, when it's a missile like that, where it's only worth 2 and not even your normal 5, you can't even open a door cap with that missile. It's like, really?
Yeah.
So that's one of the downsides to, I guess, the tiered ammo system.
At least you will see all the rooms, I guess all the connections to item rooms.
Yeah.
Not sure if there's maybe some. Yeah, there's some map rooms that will not be visited.
I always like seeing them warp through these rooms. I'm not particularly a fan of chain sparking casually, but watching them in a task like this is...
When they are working out,
fun.
when it works, it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Making it actually work is another issue, but
Yeah. This especially is. Yeah.
I mean, you just can't do that. So it's enjoyable to see that happen.
Would
Also,
take an eternity to get the timing down and practice the room over and over just for a trick like this. And there's so many of those chain sparks.
I also approve of the Metroid 1 item room throwback.
Yes.
There's more Metroid 1 references in Norfair, Lower Norfair, I guess. In fact, most of Lower Norfair is based off.
I guess Norfair has some. In Turian, in the escape, there's the long shaft where you go climb all the platforms.
Although I probably like the original more than most people, so I don't know. Judging by most people's reactions to the original game, I imagine they kind of are disgusted by those rooms.
Oh yes, and there's also some. So now he's, I guess, doing some kind of detour, which is not required anymore. Now he cannot powerbomb those blocks because they are shot blocks, and powerbombs don't destroy those. So he can't unmorph because there's more flock. So he can't use wave beam either. So he has to bomb them. But I don't know how recent it was, but Hoandizi, he just messed around in this room for this gate, and he opened the gate from down below from the left side. He did not go through this tunnel, so this could be improved now and could all be skipped this part here, because if you are at this gate, not in the tunnel above where the button is that you have to hit, if you try to shoot up there with wave, Joseph put some enemies on the way into the ceiling that would block your shot. So you just can't hit them, hit the blue button. But those enemies are not off-screen moving. So if you shoot up there and the beam shot is almost out of the screen range, and you move downwards, you move the screen away from the enemies far enough that are in the ceiling, so that the enemies will not exist anymore because they don't move or don't exist off screen. And then you can shift the screen back up again when the beam shot is already past those enemies, and then you can hit the blue gate button from here, from right here. And that allows to skip this part where I went through the tunnel above, which could be improved later. I don't know if there will be some improved TAS at some point, but that's something more major for an improvement outside of small farming and ammo management where you use the ship reefer.
Okay, so how was he falling that fast through the sand? Because it looked like he was jumping.
Yes, I think if every time you land, you will Samus extends around its center. That means she extends half. So if you change your pose, every pose, I mean, Samus is 10 pixels wide, and in the largest hitbox pose, I think 42 pixels high. 42 pixels would be 63 pixels, which is 2 blocks, plus some 6 per pixels. 63, yeah. And so around 2.5 tiles high. And whenever the pose changes from morph bow to unmorphed, or in crouch pose, or crouch to standing, the box extends around the center, so half of the difference of the hitbox size extends downwards and the other half upwards, and every time you do this in the sand, you extend downwards by some little amount, and I guess that's why you can sink down there faster if you jump all the time with little jumps just mashing. If they would be, if you use strong jumps, you will go upwards, of course.
So yeah, that door was a Crocomire door. That is the one thing I know.
Yeah, there's the lava. If you would touch the lava while running, you would reset the dash speed. Yeah, and that's also why he turns off Speed Booster, because you cannot gain dash speed in lava with Speed Booster, but you can without it. So you can run and move faster, gain running speed in lava without it.
Yeah, it's a really weird.
I mean, you can mock ball without Speed Booster. You can mock ball in lava. With Speed Booster, you cannot. So there could be a puzzle or something. But yeah. And he will also go to another guardian that's in lava, which will be rather soonish.
Yeah.
He will turn off Speed Booster again. It's also nice that Drews have put those speed blocks there, so you can shine spark up and go down there instead of going left and right all the time.
Yeah, it's really nice, the shortcuts like that through hacks in general. I mean, even if you don't expect players to use some things, it's nice that they're there in instances like this.
Super Zero Mission used a lot of those as well, with shine spark tricks that you could pull off to go through some rooms fast.
So yeah, this was
shortcuts.
This was the other spot where he took off Speed Booster. Because there's a guardian down here. Again, I really like the guardian thing. I think there's only really one other hack that had like a key system like this.
There's also Super Metroid Arrival, I guess.
Yeah,
that uses. I mean, well, Ares also uses.
Oh, Ares did. Yeah, that's right. Forgot about Ares.
Usually, the reserve tanks are used for this, I guess.
Yeah, because reserve tanks are bad.
Or turned into some kinds of keys.
But yeah, I wish more hacks did that.
This room is also very laggy down there with the refill packs.
Yeah, that might be the laggiest room in the whole game. And I also like that there's just a missile.
I guess there's in Turian later there's one room where he wants to use grouping strats for the Metroids. And in one room he gathers all the Metroids, which causes a lot of lag, just so he can save ammo and freeze them all at one place and shoot them and hit them all with the same shot. And now he clips through this glass tube with the crouch jump, and he exits north here just for this Brinstar E-tank, I guess, and then comes back. So yeah, the Brinstar cleanup was almost finished before. There's just this item here remaining.
Yeah, and that's a if you go there when you are first able to collect that with Ice Beam, it's kind of an interesting little, I guess, challenge.
Yeah. Placement of the fish.
Yeah. But it's much better with gravity. So there is quite a bit of Norfair that has not been explored, that normally would be explored by now. He's got whole
Yeah.
ice beam, grapple, even lower
Oh,
than
no.
fire beam. Because that and Maridia are kind of interchangeable as to which you can do. You can choose which one.
Yes. There's this connecting tube between North and Maridia, which is a bit strange. I don't know. Hicks usually don't do it like that.
Also, that door is open now. It normally is not.
Yes. I'm not quite sure what triggers the door, so it's unlocked.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a Crocomire or
I mean,
something
it's
else.
not Ice Beam because he's getting Ice Beam right now. Because he has beam combo, he can add ice beam to the other beams to stack all those.
Yeah.
But he will turn off ice beam shortly. Because the fire rates are like, I guess a lot of mechanics, there was a lot of inspiration from Metroid Prime, and the fire rates for beams are similar, and ice beam just takes a long time to fire.
Yeah, ice beam in this is
Repeatedly.
and Prime ice beam destroyed things pretty effectively, so the slow firing rate was a little bit easier to handle. Ice beam does not destroy things in this hack, so the slow firing rate is not easy to handle.
Not helping.
Yeah.
And because you always want to farm on the way, and ice beam just freezes the enemies, you need 2 shots for every enemy at least.
And with a slow firing
Doesn't
rate.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has space jump, and I think space jump and he will get screw attack later. Both of those items increase the speed that Samus moves through the air with spin jumps. I mean, when you get screw attack, it will be very easy to see
Yeah, it's very
how
noticeable.
it changes. Yeah.
So again, this was a decently hidden thing, and then you come across like, oh, it's just another 2 missile. That's wonderful.
It's always the most hidden things are always missiles, because it's always this deal. It either is very hidden, but then it can't be something special, because if it would be something important or crucial required, and someone doesn't find it, then yeah, that's a bad hack, or you get feedback that you don't want. So if you do find something strange that's quite hidden, usually it's a missile.
Yeah, it's kind of a trade-off, because there's only so many important items you can give a player, and you can't. They can't all be energy tanks, which are like the most valuable, I guess, standard item. Like in a normal game, there's only 14 or less, so you need to give the player some of those. It makes it somewhat easier to find those. Otherwise, they won't be able to beat the game if there's a mother brain or something like that. So there's trade-offs with everything. So it's kind of annoying sometimes, but it's also somewhat understandable.
I mean, some hacks actually do hide required items in ridiculous places.
Yeah, sometimes that's okay, but it also depends on the hack.
Yeah. Or I guess one could use something like this if you have multiple major items that would all allow you to progress, and they all are well hidden, but you can all reach them at the same time, but they're just hidden at different places, and you just have to find at least one of those. That could work out, but if there's just one unique combination of items, of major items that you have to find, and it's hard to find, then yeah, depends on the hack, can be bad or good. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Screw Attack, which,
Yeah.
it's a pretty great horizontal boost.
Yes. Combined with the speed from switching from Shine Sparking to Aran, that adds another little boost to your movement. So I guess he will not be using the springboard jumps as much anymore, unless there's some tunnels that he wants to enter or enemies to dodge. Now we are approaching the grapple gauntlet area.
Which is sadly less fearsome now. Like, I'm pretty sure I could do it first try with this equipment.
Yeah, well, makes it a lot easier to have those items.
Although, he's probably entering Lower Norfair via that exit.
Through the back, yeah. Guess when you get there, I guess you can try explaining that part. There's a tunnel again, and what the Drusev mostly uses for tunnels is those morph lock tiles, and if you touch them you cannot unmorph, but you need to unmorph to shoot out the super missile block in the tunnel. So you get to be able to unmorph there, you need to avoid this morph lock tile, and this is extremely hidden Chosen Guardian.
It's like, hi.
Yeah. Power bomb is not enough, just bait or distraction.
Yep.
And so at this tunnel, basically he has to jump over over one specific tile, a solid block in the ground in the tunnel, and at the same time, but it's a bit hard to explain, because he either the morph ball is touching the ground or the top, the ceiling of the tunnel. It's one of those. So yeah, if you touch the bottom in the first frame and the top in the next frame, and during those frames you move sideways a bit, so it's the next column of blocks further to the left in the next frame. And there's you are not allowed to collide or to have the collision check going for the tile, for the solid block that has the code for the morph lock. And how collision works with Samus and the blocks in the environment is, I guess, it's noticeable at elevators. If you are standing halfway on an elevator and you try to trigger it by pressing up or down, depending on where it goes, every odd frame it will work, every even frame it will not work, because the way the game checks this collision, does this collision check, is it takes all the odd columns of blocks and executes the collision check between Samus and this set of odd column blocks. So the first column of blocks in the room, then the third, fifth, and so forth. And in the next, that's what it does in all the odd frames. In all the even frames, it takes the other block columns. And so there's where it does the collision check. So not only you have to use precise movement in this tunnel where you went through, but you also need to time it correctly, because there's some the collision is oscillating between the odd and the even block columns, and this needs to match up.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not the normal entrance.
So basically, speedrunners can do this break into Lone Warfare from this tunnel as well, but even it's still somewhat frame perfect. I guess it's a frame perfect jump input when you hop over the block on the bottom of the tunnel, but the timing also needs to fit, and you cannot manipulate this. So it's basically even if you get the frame perfect input, you still have it's still 50%.
Yeah,
basically.
It makes it a pretty unattractive thing to try when you can do everything right and still only have 50% shot at getting it.
Yeah,
that's kind of disappointing. So this room sucks. It's the stupid pipes running around.
Once you fall down, it's hard to get up again because it uses those pipe enemies that are attracted to where Samus is. And yeah, what I wanted to explain before is when you are halfway on an elevator, if you want to activate it and press, let's say, up, if this is on an even frame, and this would cause you to have a collision check for the block on the ground that's not on the elevator, then the elevator ride will not happen. But if it's on an odd frame where the collision check is on the column of blocks that is also basically where the elevator is, then the code will run for the elevator, and the elevator ride will start. And here at this Riddle fight, Hoandizi says that this fight is not quite as good. I guess the reason is in comparison to Saturn's fight, where both of them use a pseudo screw attack, but one can hit Ridley with pseudo screw attack without getting hit oneself. But here it doesn't matter as much because
he has energy.
He can, but I guess if he gets hit himself, there's the knockback time, and he needs to charge up the for charge beam again until he can use the next pseudo screw attack, and that I guess takes longer because he cannot charge during the knockback time, basically. Powerbomb placed in the eye.
Yeah, and this is also a kind of unique take on. You defeat Ridley, and then almost immediately after is Gold Chorizo.
Yeah. Usually all the bosses and even mini-bosses have their own places. Like separate areas or something.
Yeah. And Gold Chorizo is a little more, I guess, difficult.
Fighting Golden Chorizo with the wave special beam attack is a bit complicated because just like Bomb Chorizo, if you hit Bomb Chorizo with missiles or some shots too fast, they will not all do damage because the Bomb Chorizo and GT both have a long invulnerability time after getting hit. So you can't just let all the wave particles hit Golden Chorizo at the same time because the other three will not do damage. One of those will do. So you want to move around in such a way that first one hits, then there's a short delay, and then the next hits, and so on. And doing this while still keeping the hits close to the time when the invulnerability ends is complicated.
Yeah. again, a missile.
Yeah. If you know that how to say, the harder it is to get to some item, the more it's likely that it's a missile. The more you suffer.
You always hope for more when playing these, but you know inside that it's going to be a missile.
This is basically a rule for every hack, or for most hacks.
So this is basically now just a cleanup of Lower Norfair. And then I believe it's just clean up Maridia to get to train.
Edmund's favorite room.
Yeah.
And now it's on the way to Plasma, I guess.
Yeah. Plasma is just up here. This is one reason why sometimes you would opt to go here before Maridia, because defeating gold trees opens this up. So you can get Plasma, and you have that through Maridia, and it's kind of useful in there, I guess, because the Plasma Pirates, but overall you really don't need it for Maridia. Like, the enemies here hit a lot harder.
Yeah, I guess Plasma helps to hitbox through the enemies, like, since Plasma the beam shot doesn't vanish and keeps going and interacting with enemies, it keeps them from hurting you.
Yeah.
So it can move through those. And I guess the beam shots generally are a bit wider, the hitbox is larger, so it's easier to hit enemies, and for farming purpose.
Yeah, Plasma's pretty OP for hacks in general.
Yeah.
I love this super check. So annoying.
Yeah. And now he will go back to the right, and if I remember correctly, he will wait a short bit at the door, because the screen takes a bit to scroll sideways, not vertically. And if he would enter the door earlier, then the sideways distance or difference would be kept, and all the graphics for all the tiles, for where the game puts the tiles, it would all be messed up and misplaced, and you wouldn't see much of the rooms.
Yeah, it wouldn't affect the TAS, but making something that people want to see.
Yeah.
It's
speed for entertainment. Yeah.
So yeah, this
I guess the last North Guardian.
He's also pretty well hidden, although his room's also kind of suspicious. So it's another little 1x1 room. The floor.
Yeah, right.
The floor is kind of. It's like, please bomb me. So I actually think that... Wait, no, there's a reserve tank down here somewhere still. I think. Or did he already collect the speed boost thing.
I'm not sure. But at least he will still exit. Oh no. This is also another Metroid 1 kind of room.
Yeah. I forgot about this room entirely. I never use this exit. I never go here, so. Okay, so yeah, he's going back there now. So something I kind of like here. Speed boost.
Oh yes, the speed booster reset.
Yeah, after this room state is now set, you come back down, and there was a kind of suspicious looking floor, and now it's all collapsed, and there's your reserve tank. So I kind of like that.
The idea, I guess, is you will see it early on, but you should not forget about it.
Yeah.
And if you actually keep it in mind, then you can go down there and find it again. If you forget it, then that's not an reserve tank for you.
Yeah. There is some reward there, even if it is a reserve tank. Yeah,
there's another.
Drew's pretty good with. Oh well, there's that again. Drew's pretty good with his room states, finding some interesting variations to use.
I think he's using this blue suit for another long morph maze, where you would need to bomb out all the blocks. Later, I guess he uses it for some chain of sparks again. Should be coming up.
Yeah, because there's still another morph thing.
Few rooms. It's complicated to estimate the getting blue suit saves time or not, how much you need to move sideways or vertically, because vertically doesn't matter as much. But sideways, if you can run, the difference is larger.
Yeah.
But here should be worth it. Because I think he's going to this morph ball maze now. Yeah, there. He now can go through all those blocks with blue suit.
Oh, yes. That thing.
And at least those rooms was mostly vertical movement, falling. It wasn't as much. I don't know if they're not quite sure if there's slopes to keep some transport chains going. And was that already? No, it was not the last item. No. This here is the early Powerbomb Challenge Powerbomb for the old redesign. This is one of the Powerbombs that you can get instead of Crocodile's Powerbomb. His first Powerbomb pack.
It's also a disaster if you fail, because there's a lot of lava.
Right. And I guess we are getting close to the end, or to Maridia and then Turin. more of
So
it should be cleaned up.
yeah, for some reason, Ridley is the trigger for a tube to be broken in Maridia. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I guess it was
Together with some air tiles that trigger that cause some earthquake, and then something changed, and that's in this room. There's those tiles,
yeah.
and then the glass tube is broken.
And why Ridley is the trigger for that, I do not know. But this
I don't
Chozo Guardian is just out here. This might be the best looking room in Redesign. I kind of wish there was an animated tile for like the sand falling through the water.
Yeah, it just stops on the water surface.
Yeah, but still, it looks really good.
Yeah.
And this room has the last energy tank.
Right.
There's still the one statue left here. So
Yeah.
I think he still has to unlock the 2 bottom gates. Unless he already got one of them, I don't know.
And he's also jumping through the bright sand up there from below. And there was another room where he asked me how I think Saturn used some jumps through the bottom of those bright sand, and that was a different room. And he asked me how he did it, and I guess he aligned to the wall, and that allowed him to keep the upward speed. It was something weird, I don't know. And here you could use wave beam and hit those buttons.
So yeah, now all 4 of those gates are open. Now you just have to... There's this another secret passage. Jump up to the sand there.
Yeah.
Now you get to the room with the gates, like, oh hey, these are all open. And I think there's a room with the power bomb here.
Yeah.
And this, like, really? This was it? Because it spits you out and it's just an exit. So, it's a really mean way to hide this Guardian. There's nothing really suspicious about that ceiling.
Yeah, especially with this power bomb pack, because I guess you know there has to be something, and then you look around and you actually find the power bomb pack, and maybe you would already think, yeah, that's what he did hide there, and that's all of it, but it's not.
Yeah.
And finding this Guardian is, I mean, important, because otherwise you can't finish.
Yeah.
And he's doing another. This time he's not using X-ray at the same time as he lands on ground when the knockback timer ends, but starts the shine spark, which lets the shine spark. Usually when you shine spark, the summer state is in jumping state, but here it is in the falling state, because after the knockback ends you would enter the falling state, and the shine spark doesn't start when you are in the falling state. And then some timer runs out for deleting, basically for turning off, I guess, the dash value, dash speed, I'm not quite sure, but basically when this timer runs out, you hover long enough in this shine spark state, and if you spark afterwards, then, well, how to say, normally if you shine spark, then the shine spark charge counter, the shine spark charge value will be 14, and when you enter the crash animation, it will be reset to 0. But if this timer runs out, it will be 15, and it subtracts 14, and you will end up with 1, and that's not 0. And whenever this value is not 0, you can shine spark at any time. And there's also no countdown, like if you charge your shine spark normally, it it's not 0, it's 180 in the original game, but then it counts down, so you have 3 seconds. But here it's stuck at the value 1. So he has a free spark here, and carries it all the way to the Turin escape. So you can use a shine spark in the Turin escape, because usually you can't, because you don't have speed boost anymore after Rainbow Beam. This is where he gathers all the Metroids into one group and shoots them. And so, yeah, the Rainbow Beam takes away speed booster.
Yeah.
And normally you can't do shine sparks in the escape anymore because of that. But Flash Suit allows this, or the free spark.
Yeah, so you lose a lot of items for the escape in this.
Almost all, except you can still wall jump, have morph ball and bombs. That might already be it.
Yeah. And Axial somehow made me miss this terrain. There is a pretty reliable method to getting the Metroids off you, though.
Yes. Abusing the high fall speed because of the gravity.
Yeah.
And when you're mid-air, the bomb knockback doesn't affect Samus, but it does for the Metroids. So that separates them from Samus.
I also like how that Metroid is placed where you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
It's kind of mean.
Not sure if they could be killed with power bombs, or if they are, if you made them invulnerable. Otherwise, one could maybe hitbox through. And some kind of unique Metroid skip, I don't know, using the screw attack jumps, because it does give you so much speed midair. Usually you jump over the Metroid. Oh no, that's... he's using the spring ball momentum there. And the mean side hoppers after the Metroid.
Yeah,
If
that's...
it catches you, yeah.
That's pretty mean. Especially if you did not collect screw attack.
Yeah. Because if the big Metroid catches you and you have 1 HP and they hit you, you're dead. Unless you have reserves, I guess maybe you could survive.
So, there you may have noticed he spin jumped into the Rinka without destroying it because there was no screw attack. That's not cheating, that's just... if you don't hold the run button down, you won't activate screw attack when you do a spin jump, so...
Yeah.
That's kind of actually a nice thing.
Yes.
I
it
would...
toggles it with stage, with run button. Yeah.
I would
turning
actually...
it on or off.
Yeah, I would actually kind of like that in the original. Just for that.
Yeah. I could imagine. I guess the most wanted ability would be respin. That's something a lot of people like. But
Yeah.
I guess it can mess a bit with mock balls, because short hop mock balls, because when you repress jump, you can turn into the spinning pose again, instead of switching from down aim pose to morphing. You will start spinning again, and that can mess it up.
Yeah.
But it's just minor. And now he lost all the items, or most of them.
Yep. You get to keep grapple though, so that's okay. Even though
Technically,
it's absolutely useless in the escape.
Yeah. Technically, if you have X-ray or grapple, if you have those equipped, the green icon, you still can use it. I'm not sure if Drusev did this intentionally, or if this is just coincidence, but there's this missile pack that you take in the escape, and you cannot use the missiles if you can't switch the icon to the missiles. And as soon as you switch off from grapple or X-ray, you cannot switch to those items anymore, so you can't use them anymore. So I don't know if you put this or if this was another reason or another aspect for putting this missile there, so that you are forced to turn the X-ray or grapple icon off, so you can open the door and then you can't use those items anymore, like to make sure that you can't use them. But I don't know, it's just coincidence or on purpose. But it's mean in any ways because you need all of the missile armor.
Yeah.
Well, I guess here he could have approached Mother Brain a bit, close at the end, to shoot the last hyper beam shot from point blank.
Yeah, could have. Is there any stand-up at all in Redesign?
Is there any what?
Stand-up.
Oh, stand-up glitch. Yes, if you, for example, that's something that I discussed with Hoandizi a bit, or with personal messages on TAS videos. I told him that he could turn the flash suit or the free spark into blue suit, because he could start the shine spark, but just the wind-up phase, not the moving shine spark. So the wind-up phase takes about 1 second, and then it forces you to move automatically. And to be in this wind-up phase and then let the rainbow beam hit Samus, which cancels the crash animation. Basically, when the rainbow beam ends, you land on the ground and are forced into this crouch pose, and this cancels the shine spark. The shine spark will not start anymore, and then you keep lucid and can use it for all those bomb blocks in these tunnels here in the escape. Yeah, you have to go through, and they told him there's those two options: either using this free spark later on, or blue suit. But it turned out that blue suit was slower, even though it was already slower, even though he did not use the full potential of the flash suit, because here in the escape there's an improvement he could have done. So he will use this free spark in the Metroid 1 climb room with all these small platforms.
Yeah.
But this room also has, I don't know, it's kind of weird, I don't know why they are there, but the walls on the side, there's some red buttons, or some red solid tiles, those blink, and those are spike blocks actually. And at those spike blocks, he could jump there, and basically they give 10 knockback frames, and he could unmorph when he touches them, and then start a shine spark mid-air when the knockback timer ends to spark up all the way through the room, and end up with another free spark for the underwater section in the escape or some later place. So he could basically use one shine spark and get another, and he didn't think of this here. So, but he did test it later when I told him. He did not make another video for it. He could not. He said it would not save so much time. I guess maybe around 15-20 seconds. I don't know, but he did it. He kept this video since he knew there were a lot more improvements that could be done at other places, I guess. So yeah. "25 minutes escape time, I guess."
Yeah, it's a.
There's also something special with bombs, because I mean, in some ways, the restriction that if you use all three of them, you need to wait for a longer time until you can use bombs again. But on the other side, you you can mash bombs immediately one after another, which is not possible in the original. There's some delay or minimal waiting time until you can use the next bomb. So here you can actually use two bombs quickly right after another and get the knockback from one of them into the next and gain a bit more height, which he's using here at a few places.
I love waiting for slow gates.
Also in this hack, actually killing Mother Brain triggers the escape state, and not entering the room behind Mother Brain or some other room. Because I tried going as a clipping into those tunnels before going to Mother Brain, but then I would just end up in a different room state and I would fall out of bounds because I don't know, the rooms aren't finished or don't have the tunnels aren't closed, or they just lead into out of bounds in the first state. So you have to kill Mother Brain.
So those Metroids there were kind of mean.
Yeah. I guess Rusev wanted to put all kinds of different things into the escape. There's lava and rising acid and climbing, bomb jumps at least, not IBJ. Then there's this item as missiles that you have to use. Yeah, this is this spark that he kept all the time. And even suitless Maridia, at least some suitless movement.
Yeah.
Packed it all together into one escape.
Which begins in this room.
Yeah.
As now criteria is flooded.
Yeah, at least you can start running from outside the water to keep some dash speed and not just have the momentum from the water movement. And yeah, IBJ is possible suitless in water. It's very, very slow, but it's actually can be used here. And the turnaround animation gives some more or higher momentum than starting to run the normal way, but it only helps for short distances to climb platforms like those. That's why he uses those turnarounds.
Just looks a bit silly.
Yeah.
So here's it, the rising lava room. I believe there's 3 of these in total?
I'm not sure, but there's a few of them, yeah. There's also some tiles for testing that Rusev put into a few of those criteria rooms that he then put into the ceiling of those rooms. So you cannot touch them because those tiles, if you touch them, they trigger the escape state. I guess he used those to test the escape without having to play through the whole game just to get to those rooms. And then he just put them in the ceiling, and you can actually with extra climb you can touch those tiles and end this hack a lot faster. But that's not the same rule set as for this. This is without GT code, which still exists. I guess Space-Time Beam can't be used because Spacer and Plasma cannot be turned on at the same time. Because Kachardan, I guess, helped him with some code and he turned this off. And yeah, inbounds is another restriction. And you cannot stay inbounds with those. And here, of course, 100% tests. He has to get all the items. This is... Of all the rooms, I guess I hate this room the most. Or dislike it.
Yeah, we upgraded from lava to acid.
Yeah.
And a nice little panic moment as your ship's gone.
Yeah. But I guess it's a cool idea, like it's different from what other hacks do.
Yeah.
So that's some bonus.
Also, those air puffs are really annoying on those platforms. Especially the one on the edge of that ledge.
Yeah, that is so annoying. If they push you off the platform. And GG. There's... Finally we have reached the ship.
Yeah, so that was 100% redesigned. No animals were saved, so it's acceptable. Yeah, that's...
And since we actually can open redesign in the editor, we can check all the rooms if there where all the items are, and if there would be. So we could find how to say, if there were items in the ceiling somewhere, then we would see them. So those do not exist. There are no such items. So this is actually 100%.
So there's no screw attack in the floor that you can...
Yeah.
So yeah, 114 game time. It's a little over 2 hours something real time. It's really long for a TAS. But there's a lot of really cool things. This might be... this was my first experience with the X-ray thing, speed booster.
Yeah,
this
is the first tool system speedrun that uses the super jumps and X mode, sparks for blue suit, and all those things. It's quite crazy. I like it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting trick that I hate X-rays, so it'll probably never show up in one of my hacks. But no one will cast those anyway, so it doesn't matter.
We will see.
But yeah, I want to thank Hoandizi for making these. He took a break for a while. I guess something happened and wiped his stuff out, and he was a little...
Yeah. There was... So, Hoandizi did a lot of hack TASes in the past. And then there was a long break, and now he's back. He's back because for the Super Metroid Wiki page, we have a page where all those hack and vanilla TASes are gathered, and we wanted to have the movie files for those TASes there. So I asked the TASes if they could provide those, and when I asked Hoandizi, he told me that at some point in the past he lost, there was a computer virus, and he lost all his movies, but he would start TASing again if I could provide him with BizHawk and Hitbox Viewer, and update him on all the new tricks and all that. And I did this. I wrote a few essays or books, like as people say, kind of. So it was a lot of information that I gave him, and some routes for different hacks for TASes, any percent mostly category. And yeah, then he started again. So that's quite great.
So yeah, definitely check out. Again, I'll have it linked in the description. Check out his channel. See some of the other hacks. Got a lot of smaller, unknown hacks, like we said before. Plus some of the larger. He's got like Phase On, Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And also, if you want to see someone do blind runs of literally every hack, you'll check out Aran Jeager's channel. There'll be a link to that one as well. Just
Okay.
bring your popcorn and try not to get frustrated as he tries to break it as much as he can.
Sometimes it takes a long time. Yeah. Right.
Just
Anyways, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll do this again sometime when there's another really interesting hack. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for watching, everybody. At some point, we'll have another task of something or other, so we will see you for that.
All right.
Okay, you know what? Before I'm gonna cut all that out because of garbage. Okay, so is it
Okay.
is it pronounced Aran Jeager?
Yes. That's what it is.
Okay, never mind. I'm leaving it in.